For example,
もう一回こう地図を
so
出しますけど
let
も
me explain using the map again.
ここ見てください。
Please look here.
ここに変な
There's a
地形があります
strange looking road right here.
街道から
It's
外れ
off
た
the
ところ
road.
にですね、楕円を
It's
描いてい
in
る
the shape of an oval.
こんな道があるんですね。
You see
これ
that?
僕何の道か全然わからなか
There
っ
is
たん
an
ですよ。
area called
オブ
Ovly
リー平原
Plain
というところの
in the
南西ですね。
southwest.
謎の周
There's
回
a
する街道が
mysterious road that
全く
only
これ理由
circles,
がないんです。
but there's no
で
reason
我々が
whatsoever.
あるんだけれども
There's a
人が
shack
住める
nearby,
環境じゃ
but
ないんです
there's no way anyone
こ
can
の
live
周りを
there.
ですね、ぐるぐるぐるぐる僕歩いて回って
I
みたんです
walked
よ。
around that
歩いて回
road.
ってみると
Then I
変な看
realized
板が
that there
周りにあ
were
るの
some
が気がつい
strange
た。
billboards.
交通標識みたいな看板
It
で
looks like a
結
street
構なん
sign,
かいろんな看板
and
があっ
they
た
were
ん
in
ですけど
different
も
colors.
その看板が
Those
同心円
billboards
状の円に
had
看板なんで
concentric
すね。
circular
で何かと思ったら
patterns.
これね、
I wondered what they
な
were
んか弓矢の
and
的なのかな
realized
と思っ
that
て。
they were
ということは
targets
これは
of
なんで
bows
延長になっ
and
ているのか
arrows.
っていうと、馬に乗って
So
やぶ
the
さめって
reason
あり
why
ま
the
す
road
ね。
was
馬に乗
circular
っ
was
てぐるぐる
because
回って
it
馬
was
に
an
乗る中で
archery
矢を置い
range
て当
for
てるための
Yabusame,
練習場
the
だと思って
Japanese art
念の
of
ため
shooting
その
arrows
矢
on
に
horseback.
その的みたいに見えるものを矢で
Just to make sure, I shot one of the targets with my arrow and it exploded. So I was certain that it was a target.
でこの
And the only explanation of this place is that it was an archery range for Yabusame. Also, that shack didn't look like a house, so I guessed that maybe it was a stable. So I went in there and I saw the floor was not made of wood, but an earth floor. So I thought, it's a stable. Now, when I walked back to the junction of the road, I found a really old street sign there. I read the decayed sign. It said, Hateno village is that way, and the horse riding ground is this way. I read it and finally confirmed that my theory was correct. That was an archery range, and they used to have a culture similar to Yabusame, but it died out 100 years ago. You can find so many of this type of historical remnant in the world of Zelda. All the archaeological sites and towns around them in normal RPGs would be randomly placed without any meaning. But Zelda is amazing because the creators took the concept to the next level, where these remnants teach us what happened in these sites 100 years ago and why they remain like they do. It's amazing to find out that each archaeological site and ruin are extremely well thought out, as I just described. Now, let's go back to the story about Fort Hateno. There's a cliff on top of Fort Hateno. When you climb it and glance over, you see Blatchery Plain, which was the final battlefield of the defense line, extending out and see numerous dead Guardian robots on the field. Beyond that, you see the dueling peaks rising to the sky with a narrow road in between. You see the peaks and think, because they stopped the attack of Guardians, Link could protect his people, although sacrificing his life. You can now think that because of this topographical advantage, Link could continue fighting and sympathize with him on how tough his fight was, as all the knights and soldiers had headed to Akala Citadel to protect the kingdom. Now, let me talk about the game design, or what Nintendo intended to do in this game. The name of the director is Hidemaru Fujibayashi. Doesn't it sound elegant? So, he said in an interview that he used the map of Kyoto in order to have the sense of distance in the game. Since the headquarters of Nintendo are located in Kyoto, it was easier for them. Fujibayashi walked around Kyoto with his staff to measure how large the map would be compared to the moving performance of Link. He also said that they pasted Google Map photos onto the images of the game and estimated the walking distance to Nijo Castle, or how far it would take to walk from Kyoto Imperial Palace until you started seeing Kyoto Tower. And there's a person who recreated it. And the name of the person is Hobita-san. So I borrowed the image from his blog called Hobby Report. This is what Nintendo probably did as well. So, you see how Zelda is designed after the city of Kyoto. Then, Goron City would be equivalent to Mount Hiei, and the sea beyond that would actually be Lake Biwa. That's how they designed the world of Zelda. Now, there are towers in Zelda called Sheikah Towers. Sheikah Towers are super ancient towers that suddenly rose from the earth after Link awakened and now overlook the entire world. Remember how Fujibayashi said he had estimated how far he needed to walk from Kyoto Imperial Palace to be able to see Kyoto Tower? Of course, Sheikah Towers are inspired by Kyoto Tower. Then, what inspired Kyoto Tower? That Space Needle in Seattle. Like this, if you know where each design came from, things become so much more interesting. So Space Needle was built for the Seattle World Expo that was hosted around 1965. Then it became Kyoto Tower in the 1980s. Then it got a new life in a Nintendo game. Isn't that interesting? So, the message from me to those of you who haven't played the game yet is, you can treat it as a story in Japan. Say Nobunaga Oda and Taira no Masakado come back to the modern time as monsters and burn the entire Kinki region. They also steal the 4 sacred beasts, Suzaku, Genmu, Byakko, and Seiryu. The main character awakens at the Emperor Nintoku Mausoleum or Sakevat Rock in Nara and travels from one Jomon archaeological site to another and fights the enemies as he tries to unseal ancient super civilizations. Zelda is that kind of domestic story. It's not about a continent or a large country. It's a small-scale story about the age of civil wars in Japan. This is in Nara, but we don't know what this was made for. It's an archaeological site called Sakafuna Ishi, or Stone Vat Rock. It's this way. Sorry, that's the name of the site. And this is also an important design inspiration for the world of Zelda. Zelda took the designs from this, as well as the flame-shaped earthen vessel that I mentioned earlier. That's why it's not a story that involves a continent. Its scale is closer to the age of civil wars in Japan. If you imagine the Japanese TV series, Sanada Maru, you'll have a good sense of how large Hyrule Kingdom is, and know how small the country is, as it doesn't occupy the entire continent. It's like one Japanese province with this kind of mountain and this type of archaeological site. So, Hyrule Kingdom has been fully prepared to fight against the neighbor countries, which is symbolized by Akala Citadel, an invincible fortress constructed near the east coast of the continent as an absolute defense line. 100 years ago, there was a magnificent battle that lasted until the very last night of the royal family died. So, I'm done with the miracle of Fort Hateno, and now I'll move on to the next topic, which is the tragic battle at Akala Citadel, which you can't watch without tears. But it's already 45 minutes, so let's finish the free part here. Now, the questionnaire. In the second half, let's talk about the tragic battle of Akala Citadel. Then I'll do the rest of the chit-chats about other topics. Okay. Alright, total 80% satisfaction. Pretty good. Anyway, folks, let's play Zelda. It's very, very good. I rarely compliment games like this, really. Now, let's move on to the second half.